All right, Pete, you can start the thing.
Can I?
Can.
Oh. Hey, all of you out there in Eorzea, welcome to She Heals, I Tank, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. Today is Friday, February 28th, and this is episode 207 of the Shit Podcast. I'm your host, Vegan Pete, and always by my side, the lovely, wonderful...
Hey guys, Avi Ale here. How you doing?
I am good, Avi. How about yourself?
I'm in a lot of pain.
Well, thank you for being here. Anyways, despite that pain, everyone's cheering one bit right now.
Go, Avi, in pain. Drink more alcohol.
Quick little programming note before we get started. Something that might please some of you out there that I like to call my haters might like. I will be missing my first episode next week.
He's like so proud of the fact that like the first time ever.
But now I don't get to make that joke. Like when we get to 300, I'm going to be like, well, I've only been on for 299. You've been on for 298. All right.
Still counts.
That one bit keeps on going. We're going to have to change that.
Yes, Susan.
The reason that Avi is in the driver's seat right now is because I am going to be in Vegas next
I'm learning,
Friday.
guys. I got all the button powers.
So she's working off of my computer to learn how to do everything because there will be an episode next week despite me not being here. And don't worry, Avi is on the ball. She has a great guest host lined up for next week.
This is the title of the episode.
Vaginas, the leading cause of death in men.
I'm going to use that sound clip like all night.
So, fair warning, this might be a rough episode. Avi might get a little power crazy with the soundboard.
I have the power of the buttons.
Do you want to say anything about who your guest is, or do you want to save
excited. Raze, some of you may know her as Moogle Mama, who I got to meet at TwitchCon last year, agreed to come on and co-host with me, and she and I hit it off immediately, and I'm so excited to actually like get to have an hour-ish conversation with her about Final Fantasy XIV. And so it'll be the longest she and I've ever gotten to like talk one-on-one about talking about something we both really love, and I just think it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. And I think you guys should come hang out, and thank you for all the bits.
Well, with those bits, we hit the hype train now. Let's get to level 2, baby.
And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And there might be some, like stumbles and figuring stuff out. But that's why Pete has me sitting here right now so that I can be less lost next week when I'm by myself. Well, with Raze, but in the house by myself.
So it might be rough live, but Avi's going to edit for the podcast.
I'm gonna learn how to do that tomorrow.
Well, thank you to all of you, dear listeners. Whether you are... I got a hype train going. Hell yeah. Whether you're listening via the podcast, watching on YouTube, or joining us here live at twitch.tv/SheHealsITake, we really appreciate your support. If you join us here live on Twitch, you have the ability to contribute to the show and get your voice heard. We're going to be talking about Eden's Verse and Ruby Weapon stories today. So if you have a take on either of those, join our Discord, hop in the On Deck channel, and we'll see what you have to say. And if you enjoyed the show, please, please, please tell a friend and consider subscribing like these amazing people. First time subs from Fatalis05, Protofori, Alchalant, Helix Grim. All first time subs.
Alchalant.
Alkalant. And we got another sub from Super Nerd Dalton right there with Twitch Prime for 18 months.
Hi, Dalton. Long time.
And at 2 months, we have Wongle Laughmo. 4 months, Allura for Real. 5 months, Spoony Bard Erlin. 5 months, Disco Cub. 6 months, Adeline. 7 months, Holden Koffel. Awesome Austin, and Scod Matrix, all 7 months. And at 22 months, we have KK McLeod.
And the Real Chili Pepper resubbed and hit 31 months just before the podcast
31 months for Chili.
I know. I still can't believe we've been doing it for that long. And Chuckletopia just said that since we are hitting that hype train, if we get to level 4, that they will gift 5 subs.
Ooh.
So if you want some of those super fun little emotes, you guys, I don't know. I think it's fun. Make it ding the whole podcast.
And if you're on the fence about subbing, just hit that follow button for now, so you know when we go live.
Yes, following is good. That's what I usually do. If I'm new to a channel, I at least follow so I can find out when they're streaming again.
All right, so let's kick it off, Avi.
This feels really weird.
Everyone's favorite segment.
Greenleaf Minute.
It's the Greenleaf Minute. And this isn't a website per se or anything. It's a post on Reddit. And probably the question that I've been getting the most so far is how do I get the mount and the minion from ocean fishing? And like what to do while you're actually ocean fishing. And it's too much to go through. Just
it's like a lot.
Telling someone and even here on the podcast. So we're going to post that link to you. But it has all types of good information on it. And the thing I can tell you is that the most important thing is to pop that bonus round, which is called the spectral current. It's like a rainbow round. And to do that, you need to use a certain type of bait for each location that you're in. And that I can tell you on here. So there's 4 locations: Galadian Bay, Rotano Sea, Northern Strait, and Southern Strait. For Galadian Bay and Rotano Sea, you want to use the plump worm bait, and you can buy that bait at the dock where you take off for the ocean fishing. For the Northern Strait, you want to use ragworm, and for the Southern Strait, you want to use krill. And that's how you're going to be popping the spectral currents, which is what you need to get the most points to be able to get the minion and the mount. Now, this link that we post to with the ocean fishing guide is going to tell you like what type of bait to use after you pop that spectral current. It's going to be different depending on what time of day it is that you're at the zone at. So there's like morning, evening, and like dawn or something like that. I forget exactly what they are, but that guide will tell you everything.
Excuse me, Pete, but I am the one guiding this episode. I do have to say you were not just talking clearly into your microphone just now, and I really need you to make sure that you talk clearly into the microphone for the whole episode.
Son of a bitch.
Also, Pixie, thank you so much for gifting that sub to Jub, who's stuck at work all day. Hopefully you can have a better work day and play with some of our silly emotes. Sweetheart. Come on, you guys. I had to use the excuse. I'm the one who usually gets scolded here.
I'm on a new mic.
I seriously should have like a He-Man soundbite right now. All right. I'd rather it was She-Ra, but He-Man's like quotes are better. All right. Now we have this one that I hate and I don't want to push, but I'm going to be good and I'm going to push it.
It's the tweet of the week. Good job, Avi.
I did the
best
thing.
work you done all week.
Bitch, I've been working my butt off all week.
Oh, I'm just going to keep talking? You don't want to do it?
Oh, I mean, it's usually your thing. Oh, this is funny. Okay, so this tweet of the week is in reference to last week's podcast, actually from Teaching Pete lore segments from Mog Moxie, who says, at She Heals I Tank. Avi says, who did the bad thing? Pete. Having previously mentioned being done with the Ascian storyline because everything is generally their fault, goes, who could do this Ascian thing? The Garleans? Avi. It was the Ascians. Pete.
Shock Pokemon face.
Yes. And I responded to this. I said, could you hear my facepalm? Because I felt like it was a very apparent facepalm moment of, how the do you still not know this?
I have a take on Ascians that I'm going to get to later.
All right. Oh, did you see what Susan just cheered, Pete?
69. And she got like bonus bits that she cheered for some new thing that Amazon has going on.
The little knife thing. I saw that earlier. But I realized, like, if I ever see my phone today, actually, the battery was down to 69%, you guys. And I actually, in my head, went, it's down to 69.
Nice.
You say that so much. Like, oh, you ruined me. And thank you so much, Rouse, for subscribing. Oh, miss you too. Thank you for stopping by. Have fun. Good luck on your raid.
We're at 80% on that hype train.
Boop, boop.
All right, now it's time for news and notes from around the realm.
I really like this one, actually. So Square Enix has recently created a brand new developer diary series that takes the viewers behind the scenes of the Shadowbringers expansion. It's going to give us a glimpse at the creative minds behind Shadowbringers. It is made up of a 6-episode developer diary series, each of which features a different element of the title and the hard work that went into crafting the experience. Episode 1 is titled Telling a Tale, and it focuses on the lore and narrative of Shadowbringers, as well as the inspirations and secrets behind its development, featuring interviews with everyone. Yoshi, which is the producer and director. Sorry. Banri Oda, who is the world lore creator and main scenario writer, and Natsuko Ishikawa, who is the main scenario writer, they're just amazing. They are going to be releasing new episodes each week, and episode 2 is going to be available on Thursday, March 5th. The 3rd is on the 12th, the 4th on the 19th, the 5th on the 26th, and the 6th is on April 22nd. I do have to say that I watched this earlier today. The video was like a little less than 10 minutes long. I really, really, really enjoyed it. It was kind of like a mini documentary about like the creators of Final Fantasy XIV.
If you don't have subtitles turned on, though, you have to turn them on.
Turn them on. Click that little CC button.
Or else, I guess if you know Japanese, you don't have to turn them on.
Right. You do need the subtitles. But I really did love getting to see the writers talk about the elements that they personally really enjoyed about the story. Because there's just the subtleties of getting to watch their facial expressions and kind of getting to see them light up about it. You get to see like the storyboards, and it was just really, really wonderful. And I really personally love this sort of content. So I'm excited to see all of these episodes, and I hope this is something they continue to do.
Yeah, it was great because I watched it as well. And especially Yoshi P. I don't know. There's just something about him. You can tell how passionate he is about the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the other scenario writers as well, too. Thank you so much. We got subs from Shin. Chuckletopia is gifting subs. Thank you so much, you guys.
I actually, Natsuko Ishikawa, the main scenario writer who wrote the, is Dark Knight? Yeah, Dark Knight storyline, and then the at least the first part of the main scenario quest, whose writing is just incredible. I liked watching her take. I like watching her talk about it and kind of her approach, because I don't know, there's just something about her that feels like something that Final Fantasy XIV needs. Like she's like just this wonderful injection of just passion and darkness almost. Not that she's a dark person, but her writing has that kind of darkness to it.
And she's the one who wrote the Tesleen part of the story, which is one of our favorite parts of Shadowbringers. So
she also gives you a little tip during the video about another scene that she wrote, which is one of another favorites of the fans from Shadowbringers.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that I thought was cool, I think, was since she was the main scenario writer for this part of Shadowbringers, she was also responsible for going to all of the voice acting recording sessions.
Yes.
And she would give direction to the voice actors on how she wanted it to feel.
Don't spoil. Make people. You got to watch it. You got to watch it and learn all the things.
Just listen to me.
I do have to say that you all know how much I love tanking, but it actually does really make me want to do the Dark Knight storyline, because I really enjoy her writing. So if you have enjoyed Shadowbringers, maybe that's like, once you've got your shark mount and everything else like that, you haven't leveled Dark Knight yet, maybe go back and see what she's done with that story.
Okay, and one last thing. This is going to get him to go to the video to watch it.
Oh.
She said one of her favorite things is like the little flavor text that comes up on people's heads.
That wasn't her who said that.
I think it was her as well.
Nope. That was Banri Oda.
Well, we'll see who's right. But after you do the whole main story quest and all of the role quests, they tell you who their favorite person is to go talk to after that, and they have some really cool text after you get to them.
Fun little tips.
So that's why you got to go watch the video find out.
I think you just have to watch the video because the whole thing was amazing. Like it got me hyped for a story that I've already seen. Like it made, like when it got to the freaking Tesleen scene, you guys, I seriously was like, don't cry again. Oh my God. It's so good. We missed you too, Dalton.
So yeah, they're going to be coming out like every week, and the last one's on April 2nd, which means before that, we're going to get a Square Enix April Fool's video sometime.
Yay. I love their April Fool's videos. They are awesome.
You have any idea on what it could be about?
Nope.
Any wild speculation on April Fool's videos?
Maybe some sort of facial cream that grows like a third eye out of your forehead, and I don't know.
Become a Garlean? Garlean makeup?
Yeah. No, it's like turning you into one or something. I don't know. Something silly like that.
All right. The artwork of Final Fantasy XIV. A look behind the screen. That was supposed to be a panel during PAX East, but due to travel concerns regarding the coronavirus, the decision was made to stay in Japan and do the live stream from there instead. And that will be happening tomorrow, Saturday, February 29th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it will be both in English and Japanese. The only link they gave to watch is the official Final Fantasy XIV Twitch channel. Doesn't look like it's going to be on Nico or YouTube like they usually do. I do really appreciate them using like a regular US time, North American time for this, even though they're going to be in Japan, since it was set to be at a North American event. So I really appreciate that they went the little extra step, because I'm sure it's not convenient for them to do it at that time. So that's much appreciated.
Very much so. Especially, I mean, it's understandable why they're not coming, and I do feel like this is something we're going to be seeing more of with conventions going forward. I really hope that the fear and the spread of the coronavirus doesn't affect, E3 or FanFest or Comic-Con or all of these other events coming up, because we're big con people. I realize now. I never thought of myself as a big con person. I'm like, I go to at least 2 a year, and this particular year we were possibly going to do 4. So yeah, I was like, okay, maybe I am a con person now. So I really, really hope that it does not continue to get bad, worse, negative. I don't know.
Me too, Avi. Me too.
Sorry.
Producer-director Naoki Yoshida and lead character concept artist Yasuki Mogi will go behind the scenes on the different techniques used to create a variety of the Final Fantasy XIV artwork, including jobs, NPCs, monsters, and equipment. They will be sharing some fun stories surrounding the development process, and they will be answering some questions collected from the official forums. So hopefully you already asked your questions, because we talked about that before.
Yeah. Like Emmett Silk body pillows, I guess people are hoping for. And Chile said they are refunding tickets. I'm not really sure exactly what tickets, if they're refunding Pax East. I don't know if they would be doing that, but tickets are getting refunded.
I think he said GDC.
Seasonal event. Little Ladies Day is coming up in 3 days, you guys. And I also, by the way, have to think it's kind of amazing that the week that I'm doing an all ladies podcast with Rose happens to be the week that Little Ladies Day goes live. I think it's just perfection.
Look how much planning went into my Vegas
God, it was
trip
so
to do it at the
intentional.
perfect time. Actually, that's a lie. If I would have planned well, it would have been during March Madness.
All right, so the seasonal event runs from Monday, March 12th at 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to Monday, March 16th at 7:59 Pacific Standard Time p.m. Or a.m. That was a.m. I forgot to put that part in.
Fail.
You can pick up the quest titled Pretty in Peaches in Ul'dah from the Royal Essential. A very dapper-looking Lullafell who asks you to join his quest to see that no young woman goes without a smile on her face is who will give you that quest. The only requirement is that you are level 15. All right, so now let's get into the bits that you really care about. The rewards. At first glance, the rewards don't seem like much. It's a flower and a monocle and some housing items. But if you take a closer look, some of them are kind of great. The reason I say that is incredibly simple yet wonderful, and it's the fact that the glamour is dyeable. For the ladies, you can acquire the Princess Peach corsage, and hopefully I don't continue to say that as Princess Peach. It's Princess's Peach corsage.
You're totally going to say Princess Peach all the time.
All the time. Princess Peach corsage. So finally, we have a flower corsage that is open to all of the classes that you can dye. Previously, the only one I can think of was the Makai healer piece. And that was a flower headpiece you could dye. But again, only healers could wear that. Honestly, very, very, very recently, I was looking for a headpiece to go with a glamour that I was doing. I think the one my character is currently wearing. And I was noticing how many of the hair corsages are on the market board. And there's like 6 of each because they're not dyeable. And it's just taking up so much space on the market board. And I was like, oh my gosh, why don't they just make these dyeable? It would make things so much easier. And then now they're finally releasing a level 1 hairpiece that is going to be dyeable, and I'm hoping like it'd be wonderful if they kind of went back and just made these others dyeable to just get them off the market board, because it's a kind of crazy. So thank you for reading my mind, Square Enix. I really appreciate it.
So are these going to be gender locked?
It does look like they are. They've only shown the flowers previewed on female characters. The other item you can get is the Essentials monocle, which is also dyeable, but it's not really anything special that we don't already have in-game. However, this headpiece they actually show on male and female characters, but it does work with the spectacle emote. Yeah. So I don't really like that if they're offering 2 headpieces and one is gender locked and one is not. That seems really, really unfair to me.
I'm putting my cursor over it on their website, and it doesn't say like gender restricted. Okay. So maybe they are both
That'd be great. But it is nice that the Viera are able to wear the headpiece and the Rothgar are able to wear the monocle for sure. We have seen it previewed on both of those.
How mad would you be if they just like did that for the poster?
What? Like
and the bunny can't wear it?
That would be a lie. People would freaking be like pissed. It is a really, really cute little, it's like a cherry blossom. I know it says peaches, but it looks kind of like a cherry blossom thing with branches coming down. Really cute. I like that it's dyeable. And finally, you're going to get 2 new housing items. The first is a large Eastern themed stage, which goes inside your house.
Freaking huge.
Which is definitely something that various RPers or even free companies can use for their various household events. I know it's very difficult to decorate the house with a limited number of items. So when you can create a stage that large with a single item, it opens up a lot of freedom instead of having to put, 4 to 6 stages together to create a large stage. So I think that's really, really great of them to do.
Probably see this from a stage reborn in one of their upcoming plays.
And finally, you're going to see is a housing poster with cherry blossoms on it. The reason I bring this up is it's very bright, it's very colorful, and what's different is that it's the first time we've seen something that is fun, lighthearted, and doesn't seem like an advertisement for the event. Whenever we see they look like posters, and the posters of the event are not something I personally want to hang inside my house in-game. I love these. I think these are really fun and whimsical and bright and colorful, and I can't wait to see them in-game. So I'm really excited for this event and for all of the items. I may not be using the stage, but I know our FC for sure will be. Yeah.
Really quickly, Avi, I just noticed that you need to join the live on air thing. So if someone wants to call in, they can see you in there.
You know that I usually do it over there too.
Okay.
Not gonna do it. And finally, you guys, we've got Y'shtola's new attire. Well, the brave new Y'shtola's attire, as well as her staff, available on the Mog Station. I really dislike that it's gender locked because I do think it would be really fun.
So it is only for males.
We all know Y'shtola is actually a dude. It is locked to the female characters. It is a really cool set. Part of me wants to make Y'shtola green feather earrings and like sell them on Etsy because I think they're so pretty. I don't know how my vegan husband would feel about that. But
as long as you go find dead birds and pick their feathers, go for it.
Because that's exactly how I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's a really cool glamour. I'm really interested to look at what all of the separate pieces look like on their own as well. The attire will run you $12, and the staff is going to run you $3 American.
And the staff is not gender locked. They did show that staff with different.
Why would the staff be gender locked?
I don't know.
And all Pete gave me is a screenshot, so I actually don't know how many pieces for Y'shtola we get. I know it's the earrings, which will be a headpiece, the robe, and boots. I don't know what the legs or gloves situation is because I'm not at my computer. I don't have my bookmarks and my things, and I hit my nose on the mic. It's just KK said I have to use soy feathers. KK, if you can make me some soy feathers.
I don't know if they have soy feathers. They do have fake feathers, though.
Yeah, I've seen fake feathers made out of leather. Does that count?
Sure.
But, thank you, Chili. He says that you get the headdress, the robe, and the boots. So I was right. That's what I saw, and that's what you get. Wah, wah. Oh no!
So like $4 a piece.
Yeah. Sorry. I just realized, Pete, that the Teaching Pete lore question is on that computer, so you're going to have to read the question to yourself.
The answer's not going to be on it if I press on here?
No, but I have to press the question first. You ready?
Episode 206, even though it's 207?
Don't judge me.
Teaching me lore, so we'll know some shit.
I don't know.
Why do you put your name? Oh, that the
other
question
people
came from you?
Yeah, because it comes from other people sometimes.
This came from Avi Ale.
That's me.
And she asks me, the genius, in the year 1477 of the 6th Astral Era, the leaders of Eorzea's 6 great city-states came together, and after some debate reached the decision to mint a universal currency to be used the realm over. From that day forth, the gil became the currency of the land. Where did the gil originate? Allegan Empire, Limsa Laminsa, Gridania, or Ulda? Wow. Right off the bat, I would assume Ulda, just because it's a bunch of
They're
rich
the ones with the
fuckers
monies
over there.
I understand that.
But I feel like the other city-states wouldn't go with that. Like if it just originated from there and that was like their thing that the rest of the land just kind of adopted. So that kind of makes me want to say the Allegan Empire, even though that's not very techy. And they use tomestones. I don't know if the Allegans had their own currency. But why would it be Limsa, Lominsa, or Gridania? So I'm torn. I'm all Natalie and Bruglia. I'm torn.
My favorite joke you've ever made.
Shit.
Is the name of our podcast.
Shit.
Wait, there was a button.
I am thinking.
He did the thing.
Do I go with my first instinct and go with Ulda? Or do I go with the one that seems like it's the outsider?
Shin does say pirates.
Pirates do love gold. But that would have been like something that they had pillaged before Gil was a thing, right? Fuck. This is the hardest one you've ever asked me.
This is a really good question, though. Shin wants to know, do you trust yourself?
Do I want to go with Ulda or do I want to go with Allegan? I just don't feel like it's an Allegan thing. I'm going to go with Ulda.
Beba, you are wrong.
Damn it. Is it Allegan Empire?
Will you highlight that one in
Fuck
bold?
me.
I honestly, when I wrote this question, I figured it would be something that would be between those two because Ulda does have all the money. But I read this as the beginning of the lore book, and I just thought it was interesting to know that the universal currency of Eorzea, the Gil, originates from the Allegan Empire. So I thought that was a cool piece of lore to know, regardless of it being a difficult or not difficult question.
Undefeated.
So now you need to highlight the text at the top in red. That. Even though it's the wrong episode number, I don't know how that happened.
Highlight it in a green.
No,
I got it right.
Red. I knew he was going to do that. Yeah, I actually really liked that question. I thought that was a good question.
All right, so moving on to discussion. Last week we talked in some general terms about patch 5.2. We didn't spoil anything. This week there are going to be spoilers for Eden and for Cinder Drift, aka Ruby Weapon. But we're going to be not spoiling the MSQ. We're going to save that for its own episode.
But we're not going to go over it in detail like we've done in the past because I don't enjoy that.
I'm going to go through it line by line.
I don't
baby.
enjoy those episodes like at all. If I don't enjoy them, I can't imagine you guys do.
Like you enjoy everything that the masses like.
Chili said
Please.
that he guess that's why Gil doesn't exist on the first because they didn't have Allegans, and I thought that was really interesting.
What do
Good
we pay
point,
the
Chili.
vendors in? We pay them in Gil, don't we?
We give them Gil, but at the beginning they make a comment about like, what is this? Like, oh, but it's worth its weight in whatever metal it is.
Whatever.
I do remember that. I don't remember what it was called, but I remember that they make a comment
Frankincense, myrrh.
about it.
All right, last week we discussed two of the fights of Eden's Verse.
Ooh.
The two that Avi had completed. Ramu, as well
I've done
as
them all now.
as well as the combo of Garuda and Ifrit. And we want to get your opinions on this. So if you have an opinion on E7 or E8, go ahead and join the voice chat or join the On Deck channel and we'll drag you in to see what you have to say. Eden 7, we did get a shot of in the trailer, but we didn't really know what it was.
Bunch of birds flying in your face.
And the boss ends up being called Idol of Darkness. And what do you think about the lead up to this? It was Gaia kind of went off on her own, and then all of a sudden a voice started talking to her, and it looked like this being, the Idol of Darkness, was trying to absorb her or attack her, and then we go in and save her.
I actually didn't. That's not how I interpreted the scene. I interpreted the scene where the Idol of Darkness came out of her, and then the Sin Eaters tried to attack her, and the Idol of Darkness went, oh, petty little creatures, look how easy they are to control, kind of tempting Gaia. Like, look how easily we can control them. And that's how I viewed it, and the Warrior of Light, Warrior of Darkness, interrupted that. And the Warrior of Darkness is why we are the reason that we're fighting the Sin Eaters. I don't think the Sin Eaters
But
actually were there to fight Gaia
tried to attack.
once we arrived. That was my interpretation.
My interpretation is that they were trying to attack her somehow, for some reason, don't know. And then we were there to save her because the Sin Eaters appeared and were circling before we got there.
But they were
and
they came to attack, and then the idol controlled them and forced them to circle, so that they became like an organized mass.
Oh, this is our first impressions. We have not gone back and like studied this, just so everyone knows. This is what we don't know if we're right or wrong. So if you have an opinion, hop in. But when we talk about Sin Eaters, we're talking about the birds.
Well, because first she went up there and she was talking to the fairy in her head, and then that was when the idol came out. And then the Sin Eaters came to attack because they are drawn to the darkness because they're light. And then the idol comments on how easy they are to control, and they start circling around. And then we pop up and they attack us.
Yeah, and we teleport out of there somehow right before the Sin Eaters get at us. And
so chat's having a lot of really excited things, Pete. That is a game you've played, Final Fantasy VIII, and they said that the effigy of darkness thing looks a lot like the marking on Ultimisius's face from Final Fantasy VIII.
I've just now started getting to that word, Ultimisius. I have not seen Ultimisius quite yet, so I will have to wait for that. But yeah,
so no opinion.
Since this
tried.
Since this was like an attack on us, even it's debatable how much of an attack that was. We weren't trying to like bring out a certain element.
No, this wasn't us putting effort into bringing out an element into the world to heal the burn. This was a response to what came out of Gaia. So
last week we only talked about the fights. Now we're talking about story. For 1 and 2, there wasn't really much new in this.
5 and 6.
5 and 6, there wasn't much new in the story other than what we had in the previous ones, where we're trying to return the elements to the world, make stuff grow, and we returned wind, fire, and one other one.
It was lightning.
Ramu, lightning.
Ramu, lightning. I was trying to say the last one. I was like, no, wait, no, not that's 8. That's 8. I was like, no. That's what took me a moment. Yeah.
So I don't think we missed much story in that sense. There was some story regarding Gaia, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yes.
So that one wasn't returning any elements. E8. Well, is there anything else to talk about? E7. What'd you think about the fight, Avi?
That was when I went dancer, because everyone's like, don't do this healer the first time if you don't know the mechanics yet. There were a couple mechanics that I'm still... I haven't played it all this week, you guys, so I do want to say, like, I've only done all of these fights once because I've...
Avi's been laid up.
Yeah, I've not been able to... This is the first time I've sat at my desk for a week. But there were a couple mechanics that I... like, especially the ones that with, like, the purple and the blue lights on the sides, like how they kind of charge across. I still want to kind of get a grasp on, but I can see how some of the mechanics would be confusing for people at first, but that it is a fun fight. There was just a couple of elements that I weren't quite clear yet, and I think it mostly was related to the red and the purple.
Yeah, I think I've done it twice now, and it gets a little more apparent once you've done it before, and you know kind of like when they're coming, because it's always confusing when you see it for the first time. You're like, What the fuck's going on?
Well, and I also realized, like, yes, it may not be great for the group to have a brand new healer, but like, I know how to heal more than I know how to dance. Real life too. No. And so I feel like when I go as my healer, I'm actually better at picking up on the mechanics because I'm not also having to look at my hotbars.
Yeah.
So that's because dancer, I do, especially because it is an RNG class, you have to look at those hotbars to see what's proccing.
Yeah, and I think the first time I went in as tank, and one of the first moves is a tank buster. And I just like stood there because I thought it was just a normal tank buster. It wasn't going to be a AoE or anything, but it's a straight line and it went right through the group. So felt really good about that one right off the bat. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty fun fight. You definitely will learn to swing your camera if you haven't been doing that for any of the content.
You should have
recently.
been swinging your camera for a while. So if you haven't been doing that yet, start doing it now.
Because you're going to need to see what colors are in the back of the arena and the sides of the arena.
Pay attention to your surroundings. But yeah, I think I think our group did wipe, and then we beat it on the second go.
I think I wiped on it every
Yeah.
every Eden
I think
first
that's
time.
normal for like because they're
Going in blind.
because when you're going in blind, because generally the first week especially, there isn't only one person who's new. You usually have at least 3 people who are new, and sometimes a lot of the mechanics just take seeing them. So it's kind of expect like, oh, once you see it, you go, now I get it. Okay, and so then we're good.
I would say like if a fight you do clear, like a 8-man raid fight on the first time blind. That fight, it's probably too easy. They made it too easy if you do that. I think everyone should wipe on your first time in.
I agree. And I do want to say RNGNT, Kookie, thank you so much for that raid. We really appreciate it. Hope you guys had a great podcast this evening.
Thank you so much, everyone. We're talking about some Eden from patch 5.2 right now. So fair warning for anyone that might have just come in. There are going to be some spoilers for the Eden raid and for Ruby Weapon coming up right now.
Yes, but these are generally content that people tend to unlock within the first week, which is why we're talking about them now.
Exactly. And leading up to unlocking this fight, Avi.
Oh wait, before this, actually, we kind of had a conversation about Gaia and her cutscenes because there is a moment when her text changes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay, so there's a difference in the text bubbles that you see when they're actually talking to one another, and in Ruby Weapon there's also a different text, but we're not there yet, so we'll talk about this. But there's actually another text that appears, and I believe it says Gaia on it. I actually went and screenshotted it to look at it, and I think it's her internal dialogue. That's what's showing up, and so I don't know that they've ever actually given us text of a character's thoughts yet. And I think that's why this looks different, is so that there's a reason we're getting her thoughts.
Yeah, it looks a lot more slick. Like it's all in like black and silver.
It's got like sparkly bits on it.
It doesn't look like the standard text bubble.
No.
There was some weird time phrasing in there, and I took it as somehow was her talking from the future, talking about the experience that she had. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a thing from Final Fantasy. I know a lot of this is kind of like based off Final Fantasy VIII.
I have heard rumors that you should play some more Final Fantasy VIII if you want to get a better understanding of what might be happening to Gaia.
You heard rumors?
That I'm not allowed to actually tell you details.
So people might have been saying that, but you don't know for sure?
Don't know for sure.
Because it's a rumor?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, in Final Fantasy VIII, there's definitely a lot of fucking talking to yourself.
Well, but yeah, you're talking out loud to yourself. You're not thinking.
No, in Final Fantasy VIII, there's a lot of that.
That's what I'm getting. Yeah. So this is different. This is the first time it's an internal dialogue. Sorry, I was kind of like, what?
Yeah, and I don't know if I buy that. If it's internal dialogue, I kind of thought it was somehow for her from the future.
Who would you think would be talking to her from the future?
Herself.
So it's future Gaia talking.
It's like her looking back on it somehow.
It's possible. What would give her that power?
I don't know what would give her that power, but just some of the phrasing in it made me think that.
Okay, that it's someone who's like more knowledgeable about what's happening in the current situation.
I mean, I think she used the past tense in some of the text.
I'd have to go and listen to it again, or watch it and read it again. I don't know. KK says that Squall thinks to himself a lot being capitalized.
Yeah.
So, and Heaven's Word had future narratives throughout. Yeah, but this is the first time it's kind of like a past, like it's future, like, but it's like it feels like it's in the past. Like we're not looking forward. It's like the future is looking back at the present. During the present.
Are you calling timey-wimey bullshit?
I love timey-wimey bullshit. You don't like timey-wimey bullshit. That's my jam.
I like it because they leave it too vague. Like either explain it or just go really crazy with it. Like your Time Doctor that you like to watch, Doctor Who.
Did you seriously just not know the name of Doctor Who?
Like we can just use the Crystal Tower as the police box. Go to every fucking source or every world.
We've already had an Edenverse that was timey-wimey Doctor Who. We're not there now. This is different.
We're talking about Edenverse. There's never been an Edenverse.
There was the ones. Oh, it was Alexander, like the very first Alexander with the Ra who went back in time to try to change things. That one was very Tartarus. What the fuck is wrong with my brain?
Are you trying to say TARDIS?
Yes. Said Tartarus, and I was like, that's wrong.
Tartaroo?
Tataroo? Not my fault.
She's bigger on the inside?
You're just saying the clips you know. All right, Pete, let's move on.
Sonic Screwdriver?
Oh my God. Oh, their
What
sunglasses.
would the sonic screwdriver be? The crystal Exarch's dick? Hit me with the crickets! God damn!
I pushed it. It didn't work.
Push it harder.
I was hoping it would go on for a really awkward long period of time that
Thank
wasn't as
you,
long as I was
jeez.
hoping for.
If you're gonna drive this ship,
I'm
if you're gonna
new.
drive this TARDIS, you need to get on those sound effects.
TARDIS kind of drives itself.
Okay. What are we on? Eden 8?
Yes.
What's Eden 8 called? Or who's the boss?
Shiva. Well, it's Reen, who's dressed as Shiva. God, it's like a
Reese? Reese's
Witherspoon. Who's yeah, I don't know. They're both blonde. Except now she's like got a pinkish strawberry thing going on.
Oh, tell me more.
No, you're annoyed
Okay.
with me.
Eden 8 was not teased at all, I believe, leading up to patch 5.2.
No, this is full surprise. But a lot of people speculated that it would be Shiva.
Yes, I did hear a lot of that, and congratulations, whoever prognosticated that. You are correct.
Did you know, by the way, jumping back, that the Doctor's wife is the TARDIS? Because the soul of the TARDIS actually were like there was like an episode where you actually like a human version of the TARDIS.
That's why he's always in that bitch. No crickets? All right.
I'm not fast enough at this. I'm not used to having to do that.
Oh, man. What were we talking about? Eden 8.
Yes.
So
This
that
is not
means
a Doctor Who podcast.
This, the only original, like, character fight that we got in this was E7. All the other ones were reimaginings of previous bosses, which I don't necessarily have a problem with because they are different enough from the original fights, like that they're their own thing.
Yeah.
Even if you're reusing, you're not creating any new lore, I guess.
No, it's not. I actually kind of liked how we acknowledged that we needed Lady Iceheart to summon Shiva before, and so we needed a vessel again, and so Reen volunteers to be that vessel. The arrogance that she thinks she'd be able to control Shiva was just ridiculous.
I
to
love
me.
a confident person.
I was
Even
like,
blind
bitch.
confidence, like I admire those people.
I was like, you're not even good. It's gonna be fun to watch you fail hard on your
Like
face.
I know my limits. I'm like, I'm not that smart. But people who are just like dumb, but just have that confidence to go through with whatever they want. Oh man, I envy those people. I either want to be a lot smarter or a lot dumber. I don't like where I am right now.
Just blind confidence. I remember thinking this, and I immediately thought, well, one, you're not going to be able to control her. That's not going to happen. And two, please do not make Reen super slutty. I mean, Shiva was up there with her massive stilettos and her thong up to her backbone. And yeah, I was just like, Reen is a little girl. She's but what, like, 15, 16-year-old girl. Like, I don't want to see her dressed like that. I do have to say that when she became Shiva, they aged her. They definitely they went from this is no longer 16-year-old Reen. This is like 22-year-old Reen.
They went from training bra to C cup.
That was not a C cup. That's more like an E cup, honey.
You don't know what the sizing is on the first.
I know what boob size is. I'm educated on boob size. Thing I'm well acquainted with. As a woman who wears bras.
But you've only had that set to work with. I've worked with many a set.
I'm gonna hurt him, you guys. Gonna hurt him a lot.
Vaginas, the leading cause of death in men.
A lot. Gonna die.
All right, so you didn't want her to be too slutty. What was your opinion on how that turned out?
They tried to make her less slutty than the original Shiva. But
And as the voice of reason here, I just want to say to all the women out there, how you dress does not make you slutty, okay?
well, her
You
appearance.
can dress however
I'm
the hell
talking
you want.
appearance only.
I know Avi likes to judge.
They tried really hard, and so the first outfit, there was no thong up to her back, but there was like a low cut top to her belly button, with a skirt that covered the rest of her, and then there's a phase change where she goes into like a super skin tight white bodysuit that Pete actually thought was just a thong, like just a thong. I was like, that's a bodysuit. But what I don't like is the white light change of basically it's implied that she's naked and then she changes to the like how can they say that they are so opposed to all of the mods that people put out of the lewd pictures of Reen and then they do this to her? And I don't understand that, and that actually really bothered me to go from saying no, we don't treat Reen this way, she is a child, to oh, now we're going to over sexualize her and make her Shiva. I hold issue with that. That's what I hold issue with.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that.
Yeah, like you guys are going against what's happening. Oh gosh, I'm like.
And they're like, don't use mods to make Reen look this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, because we're gonna do it ourselves.
Now that she's aged, we're like in this moment while she's, while she is Shiva, it's okay. And I don't know. It's KK is the difference between the tits. It's like the Sailor Moon type change where it's the young schoolgirl who's then now a superhero where it's okay to be super extra slutty. And I was not a super huge fan of that personally.
And do you remember much of this fight?
I remember doing this and going, hey guys, should I heal? No, don't heal this one. Go dancer again. It's your first time. And it was done. I was like, I totally should have healed that. That was easy. That was not bad at all.
This one definitely felt easier than 7 first time through.
Oh, yeah.
I think 7, like when you have the different colors shooting across the room, that's more. I don't know if it's a one shot. I think you can have enough HP where it's not going to be a one shot, but it's very close to a one shot.
And the thing is, it's not just there's the birds, and then there's the other direction. And so if you miss one and then get the other, it's a lot of looking around the room in E7. E8 was just kind of your standard.
I've only done E8 once. I haven't done my weeklies this week.
Me too.
It wasn't very memorable to me. Like I don't really remember the mechanics of it first time in.
Honestly,
and I wasn't even drinking during it.
I don't think I died. If I died, I died once. I
died once on.
I think we beat it on our first attempt. I remember paying more attention to the way Reen was dressed than the actual mechanics of the fight because it actually bothered me that much, and so it really was hard for me to let that go because I was like, I'm not okay with this. I am super not okay with this. I'm doing this fight. I'm surviving this fight. I'm doing this thing. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this. That's what I remember about E8.
All right. Well, it looks like we have KK McLeod on deck who would like to talk about Eden. And of course, anyone else, if you want to talk about E7, E8, or any of the previous ones, you get in that on deck circle. KK McLeod, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Having a drink I promised I was going to have.
All right. What's on the docket? What are you drinking?
Absinthe.
Oh.
Ooh, fancy.
What do you got for us? Did you want to talk about Eden? Did you want to talk something about else? What'd you have a take on?
Doctor Who?
Eden. I was going to talk about Eden. I was very surprised that Shiva was the last fight. I thought they were going to save her for the last round. Not the last round, the next phase or something like that.
The next set of floors.
The next set of floors, exactly. And I thought that the fight was fun. It was, I thought, a lot easier because even when I got hit by mechanics all the time from the reflecting mirrors thing, you just survive it easy and heal through it.
Yep, it was very easy.
Yes, the mirrors. I remember that now.
But I want to talk about, the character, the fight, and everything like that. I thought that the whole Shiva thing was really cool. A lot of people have noted that when she changes, she does her dress thing, she takes on an appearance of Heidelin. Like, it looks just like the Heidelin pictures from the murals. And then when she comes back and she hits the ground, like she stomps the ground, that's what Heidelin did to Zodiac, that stomp that shattered. Like,
but Shiva always did that stomp, too. It's a very Shiva thing.
She does the stomp, but she comes straight down like a real hard hit. Like, that's exactly the picture shown from Heidelin stomping Zodiac, too.
I'll have to do it again because I've only done the fight once, but I still like the single foot stomp. I mean, how different is it from what Shiva did?
Well, Shiva kind of stood there and then stomped down
stomped
once
her foot.
with like a heel click.
Yeah.
She comes crashing down when you come back, and she's right. Like, quote unquote, shattering the world. She's got that, taking on that light persona.
Chili's saying it was actually both feet down together. That makes sense. And I am picturing it now when you're saying like I forgot that Shiva does stop and then she just lowers the one foot and it's a click. It's more of a heel
she
click
has
instead
that
of a
like
stop.
one little heel click down.
Yeah. I picture it being a bigger click because remember it used to hurt the group so bad when it was new content.
So that was really cool. I thought that the music is phenomenal. I've noted a couple of times that the orchestration roll is going for $2 million on at least Gilgamesh's market board. I assume that many others are similar.
I'd imagine Gilgamesh is probably one of the cheaper ones, so it's probably more expensive on the other places.
Yeah.
I'd like to find the clip. I might try to link it in. There's this guy who's been going through some Final Fantasy 7, not 7, wow, that's in my head, 14 music, and he's been analyzing it. He's a music producer, so he goes through the layers, and he broke down this thing in the layers, and he's just vibing on all of it.
Oh, that's so
I'll find
cool.
that video, and I'll link it in there.
Oh, I'd love to see that. And if you do, Pete, we can try to make sure to put it in the show notes.
Yeah, and going back to the Shiva / Reen / Heidelin stomp that you said looked like the mural, do you think that means anything?
Well, she's that at that moment she is really fully taken on the persona of Heidelin, not so much even Shiva, because as Gaia notes is that the light is too much for her to bear, not the ice, the energy, the ether, specifically the light.
Yeah.
So you think it's directly Heidelin and not kind of like Minfilia was like word of the mother?
Well, it's kind of like Shiva has let Reen's guard down.
I think it's sort of her role as the Oracle of Light really kind of coming out. She is the Oracle of Light still. So when she really kind of went all in on the light there and kind of took on some Heidelin persona.
Well, like that's what I was trying to say is that when she lets Shiva in, she lets her barriers down that she's been holding the light back with.
Yes.
And so that's what lets too much light in because she's accepted Shiva, and then Shiva's like, "Well, I'm just Shiva. Fuck all your light stuff," and then Heidelin can get in, and that's where that would have the potential to come through.
I think this guy noted when he broke down the music is that there's a discordance in the vocal harmonies, almost 3 separate voices.
Oh.
So you got like the kind of the voice of Shiva singing, you got the voice of Reen singing, and maybe even Iceheart or Heidelin. It's like they're not in harmony. They're in a dissonance of each other because there is a conflict between them, and it's even reflected in the music. That's why I think the music is amazing. The fight is, it's okay.
It's beautiful. How about that?
The cutscenes for this are better than the fight.
Yes.
And the music. You're making me really excited to do the fight again so I can pay attention to more than just being upset that I'm seeing a naked teenage girl.
Oh, and then speaking of that, I've also mentioned, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but I'll close your ears for this, is that in the Savage mode, she calls down Hraesvelgar.
Oh.
And Hraesvelgar comes down and she embraces Hraesvelgar, and then while she's in her Sailor Moon Naked-y transformation, Hraesvelgar wraps around her and like envelops her and becomes and infuses with her, and then you see like a big Hraesvelgar dragon head on the side of her.
That's amazing. I'm not going to do Savage, so I actually appreciate hearing that because that's really, really cool. And I do appreciate that they give those doing Savage, because to get there you have to beat 5, 6, and 7 to see that. And so I think that's a cool little treat that's mostly just an aesthetic that to do you have to put the effort in. I think that's cool.
So moving on towards the end of this fight, I believe you've beat it completely, right? And then she's enveloped in all the ice. And then
I think she's trying to stop the flow, and I think she's just freezing everything around her.
Yeah.
And then, but she is completely enveloped in ice.
We're trying to break her out.
And then someone jumps into the arena. Who is it, Avi?
Gaia. Really?
Gaia.
You acting like I'm a dummy or something?
No, I'm just setting you up, baby. Come on.
Setting you up for an easy question, like Gil.
That was a hard question. This was my favorite part of probably the whole Edenverse like quest line. The coolest cutscene anyways. Gaia comes down with her war hammer and just starts going ham on all the ice that's covered, that Reen is covered in, or I guess I don't know what to call her at this point. Reen, Shiva, Heidelin, whatever. And just starts breaking her out. And I thought this was a really cool scene. Gaia previously to this could be described as a bratty teenager, and she kind of redeemed herself with this.
Yeah. I did think it was really cute at the end that she's like, Reen's like, did you notice that your hammer matches your outfit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Typical woman.
Well, no, that felt like a callback to the original art to me, more than like than a female comment of this was the hammers from the original artistic rendering of Gaia, and so the fact that it's brought in that way was more about it being a matching of the art than the outfit.
And I thought it was also just a way to like let you know that like she's back to her teenage self, not she's not suffering any damage from the fight.
Jobjib just said that they think that Gaia's character development has gone too fast.
I think for the most part, Final Fantasy takes stuff way too slow, so I'm okay with that. We've been working on Ascians for almost 7 years, and we're not done with those fuckers.
Not gonna be.
Nope.
I also have some wild speculations for the next year.
All right, let's hear it. So you don't know anything. This is pure wild speculation.
Pure wild speculation on what the next tier fights are going to be. I don't know one of the fights. I think I know 3 of the fights, but this is my speculation. One fight will be with Gaia herself because they're not going to give her that awesome hammer. She's going to have some sort of transformation that you're going to have to fight.
Yep.
Then I think after you fight her, you're going to have to fight what do they call it? The darkness, the fairy within her, the entity that is separate from her. You probably will have to fight that in some form.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, in order to tie it back to Final Fantasy VIII, I'm not going to spoil anything for Pete, is that a certain thing will be drawn out, and he will fight that thing. Mm-hmm. Anyone in the chat knows what that is. I think that's
it's
what
a fucking Ascian, isn't it?
It's not an Ascian.
No, it's not. It's from 8, so there's no Ascians. There's a certain thing that I think will be drawn out that deals with Gaia's. Her emotions, her
That's what Chili told me I'm not allowed to say.
Will be made manifest into a certain thing from 8. That's all I can say on that.
I think all of that makes a lot of sense. I agree with all of that.
So we're not getting any more.
And then I wonder,
are there even any more Realm Reborn primals that we didn't get?
Other than Good King Moggle.
Oh, we don't get to fight Mog again?
No, darn. And then do you wonder...
What about Odin?
Do you wonder if on the final fight, if Gaia's fighting alongside us again?
Possible.
Bring it back. Bring it back full circle. Just a thought.
Do you think Gaia will die?
Combo. I think that'd be a nice little thing where you've got like a phase transition where one part light helps you and another part dark helps you.
Ooh, that'd be really cool.
There you go.
I'd like that. I like that a lot.
Fight design.
Woohoo! Reen will be there and Gaia will be there. All right, we do have Icarus on deck, who's our other lore buff. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, Kiki?
The only other thing, not to take up any time, was I really loved the Ruby Weapon, Cinder Trial, that whole storyline. I thought it was well done. I don't want to try to get into it. I just really liked the whole storyline better than Four Lords, better than the Warring Triads. So
it was the most hyped I've actually ever seen Pete for any story in Final Fantasy XIV, honestly.
I was really interested in getting your reaction to it. I watched you do it live.
Me?
Yeah. I watched you do it live.
Yeah. You're talking to KK. I was like, you're interested in him? No, yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed it. We're going to talk about that next, actually.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, KK. Have a good rest of your night.
Yep.
Enjoy that absinthe.
I will.
All right. Now it looks like we got Icarus on deck. So Icarus, I assume you want to talk about some Eden as well. What do you got for us, bud?
I'll talk a little bit about Eden since KK hit most of the points I was gonna hit. But the big takeaway for me is I really enjoyed it. I thought the story was stupid, but I really enjoyed it. It was
so did Pete.
All right, so really quickly, I'm assuming the story that you talk about is kind of the back and forth between Reen and Gaia.
Not that part. That part I was fine with. Like it was very like page out of an anime, type of thing. Or it was very Nomura. Despite he said
I've never seen that, so I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
The guy who did Gaia's character design, it's very like sort of reminiscent of his style of storytelling.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he had a large part of it.
Yeah, it's very Kingdom Hearts. It's very like Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of like with the Nier stuff. If you know what you're getting into, you know it's going to be a certain way. So I was okay with it. I'm like, I knew they were going to play it out like that, and I was along for the ride.
So I'm not exactly sure what you mean by all of that stuff because I don't know his style. For me, the biggest problem I had with it was actually the interaction between Reen and Gaia, because the dialogue between them was kind of just cringy to me. And it seemed like an older man writing for a couple of teenage girls. And usually that's not a recipe that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I get how it can seem like that. How it could feel like that with not, like, I grew up with it, so like right in my angsty teenage years. So it's like one of those things you like if you were like a scene kid back when you were a teenager who liked My Chemical Romance. It's that kind of vibe.
Nostalgia.
It's that kind of nostalgia. Like, it's trashy, but you like it because it's trashy.
Yeah, I get that.
And that's kind of the vibe for it. It's like, so his style of ride, if you play any of the Kingdom Hearts games, it's very similar.
I definitely felt that. It actually didn't bother me that much because I was like, I've played these games before.
I wouldn't say it bothered me, but I thought it was the weakest part.
Well, I do just, so you played the Edens before I did, and the whole time you were like, teenage angst, and I was just like, okay, no, this is like Kingdom Hearts teenage angst. Like, it's like Kingdom Hearts.
I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, and I probably wouldn't like it.
You probably wouldn't know. But they
mostly
start up
because
very
of the
young.
Goofy and Donald talking.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it was very much
pisses
that.
Me off in
then,
the recent one. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. So for me, it was very much that. The way we got the primal fights, I thought was the dumbest thing. But it was like, okay, we're going on this ride. You know?
Well, they kind of continued that from the previous.
Yeah, that's from the previous one.
That was continued.
So I don't think we should have expected anything different on that front.
But it was just like, well, it's been really hard for us to just summon one guy without like destroying the world. So why don't we just do it with two? That sounds like a good idea. Let's just summon two.
That part was so ridiculous. You know they're going to be equally strong, and they're going to have to fight both of them at the same time. It's all right. She's got it.
See, to me, I enjoyed that because I was like, all right, let's move this along.
Oh, see, he likes the Goofy and Donald is what he's saying. So it's everybody else Pete doesn't like.
I see.
What do you mean?
The element of that, if you played Kingdom Hearts, would be more Goofy and Donald than the other characters. It's a Kingdom Hearts reference that you won't get. I'm sorry, Pete.
Yeah.
I just hate shitty dialogue. I don't care about them speeding up the story by having us fight two elements at once.
Well, it's like that. The thing is, it felt like a very teenage thing to think of. It's like, we're barely handling this one thing, so why don't we go twice as fast?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm just a little cocky as the Warrior of Light. I'm like, none of this shit's been hard. Fuck it. Put two up there.
But
and I'm like,
it wasn't twice
I'm
as
thinking
hard.
As the Warrior of Light, are you just trying to kill me now?
It wasn't twice as hard, though. It was... That's what it kind of annoys me in that kind of situation is they go, oh, well, now you're going to fight two primals that are going to be twice as hard, and it's going to be very difficult for the Warrior of Light. But then when you experience the fight, it's just a Keech thing. It's like it's just a fun little dynamic that they've added to the fight, and the fight isn't actually twice as hard because they can't make it twice as hard because then you're going to Savage.
That's just something that you have to accept as an MMO player.
Maybe you guys had really good luck, but I had a terrible time going through the dungeons. I had terrible times. I had parties who would just wipe. It was a struggle bus getting through the story, getting through just the normal mode.
I don't think I had any that I wiped more than twice
sorry.
on.
I every party I went in with, I went into with at least I think one or two other people who had already done it. Not that I had them telling me the mechanics at all. There was no audio or anything, but I at least had people who'd already done the fight. So every time I did it, we wiped once, we beat it the next time.
Like I literally had one party that the tank that went in was a fighter. They were like they were a marauder. I'm sorry.
They had their class instead of their job.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude,
did your group not like vote abandon immediately?
No,
you can't
and they were like adamant of staying in there. It's like you signed up for this, and I'm like, I didn't ask for this.
Not that.
So I mean, the first time, like I got better. Like the problem is I did it on the weekend, after the patch came out.
Mhm.
So like everybody already rushed, all the people who were decent at the game rushed through the content during like after patch.
Yeah.
And so I got the dregs of society afterwards.
I was one of those drugs. You just need to we need to communicate better and go in together. I'll keep you alive. I got you.
Cool. Yeah, so it was a really big struggle as a tank.
I'm sure you aren't the only one who felt that. I'm sure you aren't alone.
I can definitely see 7 tripping up groups. The other ones, I think you should have got within a few tries.
I still screw up on 7 because like from the tank perspective, you're like right up against the thing, so like you don't. It's hard to see what's behind you.
Yep, I can see that.
And you think you're making the right change, and then you get pushed, and then automatically dropped. So it's like, annoying.
I'm going to be interested when I do have a chance to go into E7 this week, because I know that it's one that we beat, and I didn't feel like, okay, now I know what to do. It was one that we beat, and I'm like, well, that'll be fun to learn again.
Yeah. And then going back to E8 again, it's like the story was, this is a dumb idea. This is a dumb teenage idea. Don't do it. This is a bad idea. You're like, yeah, they're like closely related, light and ice. Yeah, let's do this. I'm like, this is gonna end badly. You're just sitting there and you're just smiley nodding, like, yeah, sure, we'll do this. It'll be fine.
I guess the reason that doesn't bother me is because it's not really any character development during that part.
He was talking about Reen and Shiva.
I know.
Okay.
But like that specifically didn't bother me. It's like when they're just like together and then like the guy was always like pushing her away, and it got a little tired. Like when they're just progressing the story and there's no development during it, I'm just like, okay, I know where we're going. Let's get there. But when they're actually trying to develop a character and like their character development, it's different.
I love you, Pete, but I have to say I think Icarus and I are on the same page here. And the issues he and I had with the story are different than the issues that you had with the story.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Agree to not agree with you.
I'm not saying mine are more important. What I'm saying is I'm right.
As far as her outfit, I actually really liked her outfit, but
there were boobs. Of course you did. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Well, it's not that. It's not that. Actually, I wanted it for my character. Is what I'm like. We need that outfit.
So you could walk around and look at her boobs. I get it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm so kidding. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I actually really liked her second outfit. The one piece.
The Heidelin outfit or the Shiva outfit?
The white, I guess Heidelin outfit. Yeah, if you want to call it that. I actually really liked that. My brain goes to cosplay, and I'm like, that's actually pretty cool because it's only low cut.
Yeah. Is that what you're gonna wear to FanFest?
No.
Yeah. Well, it was really funny. That's actually what people were calling the fight. Well, other than the FBI open up fight, they were calling it when cosplay goes too far.
Yeah. It was the cosplay fight. Like I was fully there with you.
Yeah, so it was just like I was with it. It felt like everybody mentioned, it felt very Sailor Moony, like end of episode or it's the end of season 1, like fighting back a power light with the power of friendship. It was nice. I liked it from that perspective. There was parts of the fight that were difficult only because like mechanics since I went in blind, I didn't like get any advice or anything like that. So mechanics were a little bit tougher for me just because I don't have that much experience with Savage stuff. So for example, the mirror mechanic with the mirrors coming up and that huge AoE, it's like, shit, I'm over here and I'm out of position, so I'm gonna get hit. Do I get hit with 1 Vuln stack or do I get hit with 3 Vuln stacks?
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, so
that's fair.
I still haven't got it yet because again, I still haven't looked at a guide. I'm just plowing through it. Since it's normal mode, just go in blind. I figured is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. First week, definitely. I did the same thing.
Yeah, but it's all personal preference. If you like watching fights beforehand before going into them, that floats your boat.
Yeah, I'm not going to shame anyone for wanting to do that at all.
I used to be that person just because I wanted to be prepared and get my loot and go.
You used to be the one to shame people? No, I'm just kidding. To watch it, I get it.
She thought you were the one to shame people.
I was making sorry.
Yeah, no. I'm just this time around. I'm just more focused since it's normal mode and the fights have gotten easier. This expansion. I just figured it'd be easier. It'd be much more fun to experience it blind and then learn on the fly.
I think that Maybe before when you were doing the other fights, were you new when the content was new?
I wasn't around for Realm Reborn.
See,
I was around for Heavensward.
Well, no, but even so, when Heavensward, when the Alexanders came out, you would want to watch a guide before you did those.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I was
okay.
like brand new
Ah.
60, so I watched guides as
Do
soon
that.
as they came out.
That's fair.
So you're saying the fights are easier for you just because you've been around the block a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now
that
that
makes sense.
now that I know what I'm doing more or
Yeah,
less.
not
and
that the
feel more
fights are
comfortable.
actually easier, like design wise.
And I think that once you do have that grasp on the game, and that confidence in how to play even just your particular job, it's having the new fight, having that blind element makes it fun, and that's something that you have to like cherish and relish while it's there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right,
And
did
then,
you have
real quickly to
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say real quickly to touch on the last thing I was gonna touch on before I hop off is on the Ruby weapon. Really liked it. Did not expect us to go Neon Genesis Evangelion with it,
Nope.
but
It was
that's
awesome.
that's the world we live in.
I
It's not
actually
Gundam, it's Ava.
I actually did record my first playthrough of that and posted it on YouTube. So you can see
cool.
my reactions of the phase change and stuff on
Yeah.
YouTube if you wanted to see that. Pete was
Yeah,
another one of those fights
definitely.
that Pete I felt like was watching me more than he was watching the actual fight.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
that was really fun.
But yeah, it was just like the whole thing. I'm like, so Gaius is Gendo Ikari, and he's yelling at his orphan, motherless children to get in the weapons. Okay,
Oh,
got it.
It's so good. All right, we're about to get into that actually.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that, and if we missed anything, you can call back in.
Certainly.
Making you call back. Thank you, Icarus.
All right, no problem. Thanks
Bye.
again for having me.
Yeah. Bye.
So in chat right now, Chuckletopia says, "Does anyone else see Gaia as being the doppelganger of Jessica Jones, which was played by the actress Kristen Ritter?" Definitely one of the people I thought of, but I think KK actually has it. What I more thought of her from, he says, "Don't trust the bee" in the first, which is a play on the show "Don't Trust the Bee" in Apartment 23.
Oh, she looks so
And-
much more like her in that.
Yes.
Yeah,
the
she
way
was
she
skinnier there.
dresses and just the dynamic
Oh my
of
god,
her
sorry, I'm loud. Oh,
of her and the girl in that show compared to her and the girl compared to Reen is the very same dynamic. Don't try to fix that. It's not going to work.
mic bump. Okay, see, I'm in charge. You're not supposed to tell me how to do things. No, actually, I fully agree with that. Now that when you say that, she was definitely the bee in Apartment 23. Is that what it is? I see that way more. I actually was at lunch last week on Friday, and I watched a girl walk into like a restaurant, and I came home and I was like, oh my god, Pete, I saw a girl who would be like the perfect cosplay for Gaia. I just want to be like, can you just play this game so that you can appreciate how perfectly you are this character if you just wear all this and do your makeup this way?
I did see a lot of complaints about her lips.
Yeah.
And they're a little bit bigger, but it's like nothing that can't be done by any girl, just like drawing the lipstick outside of the lip a little bit.
I and Pete and I kind of talked about that. For me, the lips, it's not the size that bothered me. It's the area between the lip and the skin. And I felt like they tried to somehow soften that area with the coloration or something. And that's what I focused on, was not her lip, but like the skin meets the lip area.
See, it didn't bother me at all because I like that something actually looked a little different in the game. I think a lot of stuff, especially facial features in this game, look too similar.
They look very similar. Yes.
And I liked having something that was different to differentiate
I
someone.
liked her, but it was literally just that spot where they tried to not make it such a stark contrast of lip to skin. And by doing that, it made her skin almost look slightly swollen around her lips, which was reminiscent of like lip fillers.
No
So
Kardashian in there.
I don't know. No, like cheaper ones. They spend lots of money on their stuff.
Cheaper Kardashian.
Yeah, trashy Kardashian kind of thing. So that was the area that bothered me. It looked almost like her lips were swollen from, that. But the larger lips, the design of her face, the design of her, everything else, the character herself, I thought was wonderful. I really appreciated seeing something so different.
Yeah, it wasn't distracting to me. I was telling you earlier, I was more distracted certain scenes, and like whenever she would move, her hair would clip into her shoulder. And I'm like, that's way more distracting to me than her lips.
That's because you play a male character whose hair never clips. I play a Viera who they don't do things because of clipping and everything clips. So it's fine. But yeah, that was the issue. I didn't like how, like, even though her hair being long, for me it was hard to see her head go down and then her hair stick straight up. That I noticed more than clipping or anything else. I'm like, dude, her hair's like gelled, like solid. Like she got a freaking mohawk going out the back of her head. But again, people who really want longer hair in game don't care about clipping. They don't care about that kind of stuff. So
yeah. And my only other note on that was the teenage drama between her and Reen,
which was, I think, more on you than, like, bothered you more than most people I've talked to.
And like, it wasn't necessarily that they had the discourse between each other. I just thought it was written poorly.
It needed to be addressed because they are both meant to be children in a sense, but they're both children who also get camera shots, upskirt camera shots, which I don't know. It's hard for me to be like, treat them like children. Here's an upskirt camera shot. Like, come on, guys.
We do not know what the age of consent is on the first.
No, I know. It's a thing. It's a thing.
All right, so is anything you have to add about Eden? Maybe any of the story in the beginning part that we didn't talk about last week? I think the beginning was pretty much similar.
I think it was...
Where we're trying to bring life back.
I have loved seeing, actually, all of the, like, the friendship art of Gaia and Reen, and then also I also liked seeing one where it was like an outfit swap of like Reen wearing Gaia's outfit and vice versa. Like, there's been some really wonderful elements of that, and I think, like, so you complain about like the teenage interaction between them, the drama, but you have to remember that Reen never got to be a kid. Reen is like trying so hard to be like, hey, this is someone like me, like legitimately like me.
I understand it, and that's why I was able to get over it, because I'm okay with that story being told. I just didn't think the dialogue was good.
I mean, you also have to realize it's originally written in Japanese and then translated.
That, and like I said, it's probably written by an old man trying to write for two teenage girls, which is not a good recipe.
And the best part, Icarus just even commented, was that Gaia was treating Thancred like crap, which was amazing.
Okay. The reason I like Gaia the most is not because of the way she treated Thancred.
What?
But she called out Urianger. She was like, how can you guys stand to listen to this asshole? I'm like, oh my God, I love her. She can do no wrong. Don't give a fuck about the lips.
She's got her snarkiness.
I can forgive the clipping of the hair.
I love that.
Number one in my book. Fuck off, Urianger.
I loved that I love that the game with Shadowbringers has really started to call out the more communal jokes about Thancred's daddiness and the exhausting tone of Urianger. She's like, oh, I think what she said, she's like, I don't even know what you just said. Like, it's something like that. Like, that's amazing.
I thought the part of the story where Thancred realized where he did have to kind of let go a little bit, I think that worked.
Yep, that did work.
I have seen fan art of Urianger and Thancred as like two dads, and some people were taking it in a more risque realm as well.
I loved all of it so much. I really did.
So as much as I didn't really like Thancred in maybe like even the first 3/4 of Shadowbringers, I thought they've done a pretty good job in the end of Shadowbringers and in the subsequent patches
of lightening it up,
of making him a little bit better. There's some character growth in that. So I was overall very happy with this Eden. Like I talk about the teenage angst, the teenage drama, and it was more about the writing than anything. That was my one nitpicky negative of the story.
All right. Do you want to talk about the Cinder Drift Ruby weapon, which was like your favorite story from?
For me, this was the highlight of the patch so far. But I haven't finished the MSQ. I think I'm through most of it.
I'm not at all.
I've done the dungeon and everything. Yeah. But yeah, so far this has been the highlight of the patch for me. And I don't even really know why. I guess it was just because there was a twist I wasn't expecting.
I mean, this was really well done. You don't need to give an I don't know why. This whole element was really, even the way I know people who knew about Ruby Weapon knew that the pilot was going to be a woman, everything going into it, but the way that they showed it to you, if you didn't know it coming in, was just simply the cutscene. It wasn't done in like a, ooh, it's a woman. It was, here's the pilot. Oh, based off her armor, that's a woman. There's no plot point to that. Like, it was just really, I really appreciated that it was just showing who the pilot was, and then the way that the story continued to be developed through the actual fight itself. And it really, really surprised me.
So let's talk about that quickly. Last week we had talked about the fight in general and how we really liked the cutscene in the middle and that it served as a checkpoint. If you died, you'd go back to that.
Yes.
So once you bring down Ruby Weapon to 0, there's a transition and a cutscene. And who is birthed out of Ruby Weapon? I don't know if
Who bursts out of Ruby Weapon, I guess. I'm not really sure. Yeah.
So I guess it's a form of Nail Van Darnus.
Yes.
I don't know
Well,
what
so
exactly
it's
she
like
was
the
called.
memories of her were imbued into Ruby
Yeah.
Weapon and the pilot, and then when the pilot sort of was absorbed by Ruby Weapon, she became one with the weapon and the memories associated with it, sort of essentially creating like a super weapon.
So somehow they're making these new weapons that are similar to Ultima Weapon.
And they definitely hinted, this is a little bit of a spoiler, that this is not the first of these weapons we're going to see.
And they mentioned some sort of aura sight, I believe, at the beginning. That's kind of like holding the memories of their past heroes, which was Nail Van Darnus. So there is a pilot that gets merged with that and with the Ruby Weapon itself. And once we end up beating it, Sid actually says that pilot was in lots of agony in her last.
Oh, it was a horrific death. It wasn't like a simple death. That was
because Gaius was saying, I hope she died in peace. And Sid's like, hate to break it to you, but
Icarus is pointing out that's very Evilise, the whole aura sight stuff, side of things like that.
Yeah, the Evilise was for me.
It's valid.
But I'd say the biggest reveal was we got Daddy Gaius, Papa Gaius.
The biggest reveal was that he cared about the children.
Well, we didn't know there were any children.
Right, but we knew that Gaius was kind of Daddy Sid.
Yeah, he was a mentor. I don't know if I'd go daddy.
He was a father figure to Sid. Yeah, he fully was a father figure.
But we didn't know he had a whole, I guess harem is not the right word.
No, it's not the right word. No, that is not at all.
A whole litter of kids?
Yeah, litter is better. He adopted a bunch of children to care for and to.
He started making child soldiers. So yeah, there's 5 or 6 Aura kids that he got from.
KK saying that he mentored the other 3 from Realm Reborn. Yeah, I didn't find it surprising.
From the Whirlit.
It was like a thing that he kind of always did. Like he always cared about the children.
Okay.
He always cared about others, even if it was at the time to further his mission, to further the Garlean mission. But because he was carrying and raising those children to further the Garlean mission doesn't mean that he always wanted to further the Garlean mission. So when that ends, but he's separated from those children, what direction do they continue and what direction does he continue? And that's kind of what this is exploring. Is we've known that he's been this character, but now personally and I guess professionally, if you're gonna go that way, he's completely separated, but he's also separated himself from his children. Why would they also? They're not going to follow him because they're still there.
Yeah, never mentioned him. Never.
Why would he? When has he had a chance to?
I mean, we've been talking to him.
Not about personal stuff.
I know, but when he was with Estinian going to Garlemald, he could have been like, "Look,
bro, let's have a beer and talk about our kids."
Yeah, he's like, "I've got 5 children. I want to try to fucking rescue them." Like, if he,
I don't think he knew. He didn't know where they were or what they were doing at that point.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but all I'm saying is we didn't really know him like that.
Right.
We got a little more to him. There was some character development.
I think this was the best way to present it. I think if they tried to bring it up in some buddy conversation way, it would have felt forced.
No, I wasn't saying that at all.
Oh, so I thought you were saying exactly.
No, I'm like, he could have mentioned, "Hey, I got kids. I want to look for them." It doesn't have to be over a beer, being like, "Oh, I got kids."
It would have been the wrong time in the story.
I'm not even saying it needed it. Okay.
Icarus is saying he's not the kind of guy to open up. He's the kind of guy to respond.
He's the kind of guy that would have just done it.
Not then.
Okay. I'm not trying to make any big point on this.
Okay.
I don't know why you're fighting me so hard on that.
Because I disagree.
So how many kids did he have that we see in the flashback? It was 5 or 6.
Yeah, it was 2 girls and I think 4 guys.
All right, so 6 kids
I
total.
believe.
One of them, which
It might be 5, but I think
ends
it was
up
6.
being the pilot of
The
Ruby
first.
Weapon.
They're all Aura.
All raw. They were found
5.
in.
It was 5. Okay, so it was two female, one male. Thank you, Icarus.
Found in the Whirlet. And
We do know that one of the boys, the male characters, is going to be the next to pilot the Azor machine.
And they have different hair colors. One is blue, one is green, and we know that from Final Fantasy VIII, they're called the Diamond Weapon and the Sapphire Weapon.
Oh, there you go. So it's
So
the Sapphire Weapon, not the Azor.
That's what everyone was alluding to. Although in the flashback, the pilot of the Ruby Weapon, the girl did not have red hair. She had
No.
blonde hair.
Yeah, she had blue skin and blonde hair.
Emerald, I'm sorry, not Sapphire. Or Sapphire Diamond. I forget. I haven't played it through. This is just what I've heard.
Okay. Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and Diamond.
And that's from 7, not 8. There we go.
She had pink hair. Was it pink? Very subtle.
No, in the flashback, she definitely had blonde.
She had white hair. He's saying blonde, but she was white with dark blue skin. Yeah. Not that that really matters.
If
I
it
don't
was
know why
pink,
we're
it was a very, very light pink.
Yeah.
I did not see pink at all.
I don't know why we're focusing on that.
Just because it's the color for their weapon. And then if she had red hair, you could probably definitely assume that
She was going to go that
the
direction.
Emerald and Diamond, Sapphire, whatever, are going to be those pilots.
Got it.
And another big reveal at the very end of this quest line is that the tall Elizin that has been following Gaius around is kind of questioning if seeing his children has brought back any memories and feelings for Garlemald. And, you know, after you see your children, you might want to go back to the other side. That's why he's kind of bringing that up. But he also says something to the effect of,
If you go back, I'll kill you.
yeah. So what do you think about this Elizin? I forget his name. It's like Vodalin or something like that.
I think this is sorry, I needed some water. I think this is a story that I'm interested to see more in. I think it's I'm willing to help you only if you promise that you've actually changed. It doesn't mean he fully trusts him.
But what makes him so cocky that he thinks he can just take out Gaius?
I don't think he can take out Gaius.
You don't think he can?
No.
He seemed pretty damn confident.
Confidence isn't ability.
He just said, I will kill you. And he wasn't like subordinate to him at all in any of their exchanges. I really hope this doesn't happen. But that motherfucker's face tattoos looked very Ascian-like.
I didn't get all that.
Yeah, if you go back and look at that Elizin,
I remember his face tattoos.
I was like, oh, I hope that's not an Ascian.
I mean, I think those face tattoos have been in game for like a long time.
I don't remember his like that.
Did you
don't
ever-
remember seeing his before, but I don't remember shit like that very much.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I don't.
yeah,
I don't
everyone's
I think
saying
Pete's-
no way.
Yeah, I don't.
But there's lots of shit where it's like, how do we make this happen? Let's fucking add Ascians to it.
This is wild speculation, Pete. Yeah, I didn't get that, but you know, like I don't want to. He does hate Ascians. He does.
Yeah, but
like Gaius hates Ascians.
Mhm.
Why would he partner with one who's an Ascian?
I don't know if they're really partners. Why would your partner say, I'm going to kill you?
If you're gonna go back to the Garleans and go against everything that we're fighting for now, you're gonna.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not.
Ascians are going to do whatever they
No.
need to do.
I think that makes zero sense. I think that makes no sense. I'm sorry, Pete. I fully disagree with you on that.
We'll see.
Fully disagree.
That leads into my one kind of add-on point
Thank you for following, Halen.
that I have tonight is the last couple of weeks during the Teaching Pete lore segment, you've tripped me up with a couple of follow-up questions when I've got the answer right to begin with. I don't appreciate, by the way.
That wasn't last week.
Yeah, it was.
No?
Whatever. And it took me a little bit of time to meander to the correct follow-up question.
That was the follow-up question, wasn't it? Yeah. But
and
it was a simple one.
And I've come to the conclusion
that you don't get the answer to simple questions?
I've come to the conclusion that I just don't care about the Ascians.
So you don't care about a large portion of the story for Final Fantasy XIV.
It's like a large portion, and it was probably more prevalent in the beginning, and then it wasn't as prevalent during Heaven's Ward, and it really came back in Shadowbringers. And to be honest, Shadowbringers is the first time I ever really appreciated a Ascian character. Up until that point, didn't give a shit about any of them, really.
I just viewed them as chaotic evil previously.
Were they really chaotic, though? It seemed like everything was very planned.
Okay.
Chaotic evil is more Xenos, I would say.
I don't agree.
Okay. Great. You want to explain that?
It was more personal for him. I think Emmett was more chaotic, I guess, than Xenos.
I don't know about that. But yeah, Emmett Selk is the first time I actually thought we had an engaging Ascian character.
But that's why people love him so much.
And I'm saying that's fine. I'm saying I agree. He's the first Ascian that's been any sort of good, any sort of engaging character that we've got. All the other ones have been super boring. I still don't care about Elidibus. Like, the only reason I know anything about the Ascians is because I know there's this overarching story that involves them.
I feel like, but the whole point of the Ascians, the reason I say the Ascians in general were chaotic evil is because they're evil. They are evil in the world, and their role was to try to cause chaos through other players to destroy the world.
So they're trying to cause chaos for us, to bring on calamities and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's been in a very strategic way.
You say that, but we don't actually know their strategic plan all this time. But it was always, they're okay. Everyone's now they're more lawful. I don't even want to go into that.
But what I'm saying is like La Habrea, a little bit,
Well, I agree in the sense I'm not gonna and not want to talk about the Ascian dynamic, like write it off. But until Emmett Selk, the Ascians were black and we were white, and the story itself was good versus evil, which gets kind of played out and boring. And the fact that they finally gave some humanity to Emmett Selk made them a much more dynamic and interesting people.
I think that's very interesting. I agree with you on that point. My point is, it's taken almost 7 years to get to that point.
Hey, Bubba, this is an MMO. That's what they do.
I know. It's a bad storytelling, though.
But it's what they do.
This whole Ascian shit should have been wrapped up at the end of Heaven's Ward and moved on to different stories.
Thank you, Rose. Somebody agrees with me. We talked about you earlier.
Putting in those brownie points for next week.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it is a bad story, though. Like, this story...
I don't want to say bad. I don't think it's a bad story.
This story could probably be recapped by Icarus in chat right now for someone in 30 minutes, and it's taken us 7 years.
30 minutes is a long time to recap a story.
If I were to recap any TV show, it'd take me more than 30 minutes.
30 minutes, but okay, 7 years of a TV show is 7 years of cutscenes. The video game going for 7 years isn't 7 years of TV show. It would be more like 3, because you're not actually watching cutscenes the entire time. You're also playing content. So you're being like, you're overzealous with it. Like, you're expecting too much.
Yoshida makes the equivalent to a season of TV, so...
It's not my favorite. And I agree with Rose on this. It's not my favorite. Like I said, they are the basic bad guys in the background. Like when there was a plot hole or something they couldn't figure out, it always was like the Ascians were behind it.
And she says, I definitely like the take they took in Shadowbringers for it.
Everyone does.
I 100% agree.
Everyone does. Everyone does. That is a very popular opinion. So you're just trying...
Why couldn't they have added...
He's just trying to make an argument for why he can't ever answer any of the lore questions about the Ascians. And his excuse is, because I don't like them.
No, because like I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I guess I really never really cared about the Ascians up until Emmett Selk, because he's the only one that was an interesting character.
But go back to you've got my lore questions. Read last week's question again. It was so fucking broad, Pete. It was so broad that you making this argument about disliking the Ascians is silly.
That's my point, because I don't think of them ever.
I'm sorry, my throat is sore again. It is still stupid. You don't even want to look at the question because you know how basic of a question it was that you even said, like, well, that sounds like something the Ascians would do to the Garleans.
First of all, your question was, what was used to power the Ultima weapon? And a bonus point if you know who gave this to the ancient relic to Gaius. I got the main question right. It was an add-on question.
Who else is going to give it to Gaius? Who else is the big bad evil in the story? You've even said it yourself.
Emperor.
No.
I know.
You're just...
It's the Ascians. I know. It's always the Ascians.
You say that now, and that's why the whole point of teaching Pete lore is here so that you know to respond that the answer is always the Ascians.
What I'm trying to say is the Ascians suck. And they've done some pretty poor, in my opinion, poor storytelling regarding the Ascians. I think if they would have condensed some of this shit together, it would have been more engaging, more entertaining. I don't think they've done any good service. Why are you playing Xenos? Because he had an Ascian in him? Who hasn't had an Ascian in him? I have an Ascian in my ass right now.
It was because Cater Pants asked for it, and because it sounds like you were fighting so hard for your point that I just felt like you needed some like fighting audio behind that.
Ascians are bad. It's taken them almost 7 years now to tell a story that still hasn't wrapped up yet. Hopefully, and what's the end game that people that like okay, Icarus is on deck, so I'm going to ask him this. What's the end game that people are going to be happy with regarding the Ascians? Like, what's going to give conclusion to this story?
The Ascians aren't going anywhere.
Are we just going to have the Ascians forever? Oh my god.
Yes,
I'm going to skip cutscenes.
We have all of these worlds. We have all of these worlds that the Ascians are a core part of, so they're not going anywhere. Go ahead, Icarus.
So, I have something that'll hopefully bring the two camps together. So
you got some weed?
Unfortunately, no. But to Pete's point, the Ascians, as far as Elidibus and La Habrea and the other ones who have goofy names, their whole thing is to try to bring their world together, and they do it with the same repetitive idea. You know, Elidibus's big plan is to tip the scales back, to put things back to where they were at the beginning of Shadowbringers. It's like, make everybody a warrior of light, tip the balance again, and we have a flood of light coming back to the source. That's literally his plan. It's the dumbest thing.
Yep.
And
it's boring.
And it's boring. It was the most boring option.
And we don't even know if it will work.
It probably won't. There will probably be some things that are coming along that they're kind of signaling that will be a wrench in his plans. Other than us, like, we've been beating Prime Ascians like left and right. So, I mean, I don't know what his big plan was, is to piss us off even more. It's like the guy who yeeted him out of his possessed body when he was possessing Xenos. The only guy that Xenos has lost to is us. So it's like, yeah, piss us off. This is a great plan. Let's just keep doing the same thing over and over. So, to your point, yeah, that's boring. Good news for you is that they've been signaling that this is the end of the Ascian story.
Yes.
Like, we are barreling towards the end. So we are not going to be with the Ascians
which
forever.
I'm really happy about. But what's going to be a satisfying ending to the storyline for you personally?
I think that where we're going with this is we're going to, because if what they've been signaling is that with Elidibus being the heart of Zodiark, we're going to end Zodiark.
Yep.
And we won't have, like, unfortunately my Ubermensch theory has been thrown out the window because I don't think we're going to any other shards. We might fix one more by proxy.
If they want to get rid of the Ascians, they have to get rid of the shards by proxy.
There's
no way for that.
Rid of Zodiark.
What?
I think the shattered parts of the stars are going to remain that way. I don't think we're ever going to unify them.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If they in order to get rid of the Ascians, they have to give up on unifying them. That's the only
Yeah.
way to get rid of them, because the whole point
Well-
of them is the attempt and the efforts to unify.
I think what he's kind of saying is Zodiark's kind of like the hive mind. You kill Zodiark and all the Ascians die.
Yeah. I think and that ties again back to the theme of Shadowbringers is, do we continue to strive for the past, or do we look forward to a new future? And that's the best way I think we could get towards that is by getting rid of Zodiark, possibly Hydaelyn in proxy.
I hope
And
that if
going-
they do plan to get rid of Zodiark, they get rid of Hydaelyn.
And
Because they've
I
made
think
it
it's that-
sound very
and-
much like they're the same thing, essentially.
and Shinek just said that in chat. Kill Zodiark, kill Hydaelyn.
All we balanced.
Like when I was trying to think of ways where it's an interesting ending to me, one that I would find engaging, that's what it was. It's like, truly, we don't know who's good, who's bad. We just end up blowing the whole thing up because, like, one of the working theories is, we've been tempered by Hydaelyn, the Ascians have been tempered by Zodiark,
Yep.
and we're just doing their bidding, and we just need to blow them up, and we have free will again.
After the full storytelling was basically by Emmett, really, in the cave where we saw like the drawings and everything, I came out of that going, I want Hydaelyn and Zodiark to die. Because right now,
Yeah.
I feel like Hydaelyn's tool, and it feels kind of like the story so far, which I haven't gotten to do anything from 5.2. Like I said, I have been unable to play.
Hydaelyn's Tool, new band name.
But they haven't really approached that subject again, and I really hope they do, because it feels like it was like, this was a big deal, and then you guys haven't talked about it again, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I think especially what they're planning with Xenos is that there might be more than just Ascians running around.
Well, of course there's gonna
they
be.
They explore that a little bit, and I think that's our mystery stray dog
Mhm.
from the last 5.1 patch.
They're called
is that good.
Bassians.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But I think we're starting to see some other forces at work,
I hope
especially
so.
with the sort of exploration of the ones that summoned Hydaelyn in the first place.
Mm.
How we are not one of that number, so it kind of like throws us this idea that maybe we were tempered. It's making it more clearly that we were that 14th member
Yeah.
who didn't want to do anything with either side.
Yep.
And
Very
it's
much so.
just that because we're echoed. Because
Was
we've
it that we
heard-
didn't want to have anything to do with either side, or that we summoned Hydaelyn?
Yeah, I think they've made it pretty clear that they were the person who dissented from both ideas. Like, this whole idea of summoning primals is dumb, and I don't want to have any part of it.
Yeah.
Uh,
We're the chaotic
and-
neutral. I'm going with all
Yeah.
the freaking D&D references tonight.
Is there a chaotic neutral?
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
I
That is
think we're
that
more
is
true
right there is
neutral.
the idea of chaotic neutral. I'm going to do nothing and just see what happens.
I want to be neutral.
Like, I don't
I'm
care
just
if it's
laying in
Yeah,
bed
true.
watching
I don't care if
everything
it's
happen
good. I
around
don't
me.
care if it's bad. I'm going to do nothing. Whatever happens, fucking happens.
That's more neutral.
Is
Not to contradict you, Avi. I think
Yeah.
that's more neutral.
Well, because no, like
Just
you do,
true
there's
neutral.
you do nothing and you hope for the good.
Chaotic neutral is just doing like angel dust and running around.
Well, chaotic neutral is just like, as long as it's chaotic, it's whatever is truly chaotic.
Yeah,
is what
whatever.
we do.
Like, there's no clear direction.
Yeah. But to get back on point, I think they're making it very clear that they made it clear what the echo is.
Mhm.
That we have it, we just happen to have it, and Hydaelyn is using us as her champion to fight against Zodiark, but we're not being controlled by her. We're just being gifted with her powers. It's kind of like this machine that is constantly pounding out this message, and we've been one of her stronger champions. That said, I think that with us beating back Zodiark and his followers, I think there's going to be a resurgence of her. That's another threat we might have. To wrap this whole thing up in a bun.
But what's going to make us take on Hydaelyn? Like, if we don't really have free will, if we
Xenos.
are doing her bidding, you think Xenos is going to be able to convince us?
I think the big thing is whoever is working on Xenos and grooming him might be a plan to that sort of thing.
The chat is also saying that more is explained in 5.2, which
All right, I still got more to work
Yeah.
on.
so it's hard to
Yeah,
speculate
there's-
when we haven't done the most recent MSQ.
Okay, so Kate,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Good.
Oh yeah, KK in chat is saying I'm very worried about what SE is going to do after the Ascians, and I think someone also said something similar to that earlier. And what I have to say is, like, I really enjoyed parts of A Realm Reborn where it was just like political, kind of like Teleji Adeleji in Ulda and some of that stuff. So I think they can go that route with some engaging storylines, and maybe some of the alliance doesn't really work anymore and there's more distrust between the alliances, something like that. And we still have Garlemald to deal with, even though Garlemald was started by an Ascian that we know now. But I think they can. I know it's called Final Fantasy, and you always want some sort of fantasy element to that. But I think a lot can be added to the story with just like normal, and I'm just going to call it human strife and intrigue.
Yeah, I don't think they'll try to break up the nations. They're not going to go World of Warcraft with it as far as like the alliance.
I don't think they'll
that's
ever
very
bring
set
it
in
up.
stone.
But you can
But I
tell
do-
you can tell engaging stories with what we have.
I think the big focus is going to be us versus the Empire is going to be the next big thing. It's
Yeah,
like-
and I think they've said as much. We need to have a resolution with Garlemald as well. And then who knows, maybe we take the Crystal TARDIS to another shard eventually. See what's going on over there, and we can solve their problems.
I think the crystal shard, the crystal TARDIS is going to stay where it's at. I think we've messed enough with it. I think the big thing is there's going to be this working. If we're going to work on anything, it'll be back on the source. There's tons of areas we haven't explored. There could be new threats, human threats, as you said, or more threats that way that we can deal with. We still haven't been to Mericidia, which is where the dragons are and cat folk are from. We haven't been there. We haven't been to the New World, except through blue quests. There's a lot of things we haven't done, we haven't seen. So I think there's a lot of potential out after that we can run around with. But I think we're giving up. I think by finishing the Ascian story, we could go to something new.
Yeah, I want him to finish Ascians by like 5.4 at the latest, and then start leading into what the next 6.0 expansion is going to be, which hopefully is having
Garlemald,
some sort of
calling it
conclusion
out.
with Garlemald. And then after that, I want them to come up with something new. Like, I think those are the last two like remaining threads that we've had since A Realm Reborn, and we need some new stories.
I think we're gonna get to 7.0 with new stuff. 6.0 is gonna be Garlemald, and we're finishing off the Ascians.
Well,
By
I would like
7.0.
that. They definitely need to tie up the Ascians. I'm done with them.
Although jokingly, Yoshi P did say that 7.0 we're going to the moon, so who fucking knows?
It's all in good fun.
Yeah, but hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better about the Ascians. That like you're right in that they're boring for a specific reason. They're like, think of them as like Loki versus Thor's sort of.
I can't say that
like-
because I fucking love Loki.
Well, because
I love everything about Loki, and I'm not just talking Marvel Loki. If you've actually read Norse mythology, Loki's fucking amazing, and the Ascians are nothing like him.
I'm talking about Marvel Loki as far as his
Well, that's different.
his arc. And that's the whole point is like Thor grows and changes, and Loki just stays with the same misdirections and the same, tricks and lies and stuff, and he's stale in that regard. And that's what I meant. Like, I actually like Loki in the Marvel stuff and in the Norse mythology stuff, but I just, as a contrast.
So basically, you're saying, in my opinion, blame the writers.
No,
That's what you just said. That's fully what I just
it's-
heard, and I'm gonna go with that. Icarus.
I'll blame
I'm
the
sorry.
writers. I've said that. It's taken them 7 years to tell the story of the
I'm just
Ascians
teasing
that
you.
they've had so far.
I think that's the point. That's their big flaw, is that their whole thing is that they're predictable.
Yeah.
They're trying to be misdirected.
We are bad. You are good.
But their big thing is they're trying to strive for something that not achievable,
Mhm.
and they keep going through the same motions to try to get there, and it's not, and that's going to be their undoing.
Makes sense.
And I think they just need to tighten up their storytelling. Because like I've said before, Square Enix is really good. I've loved every expansion. I liked Heaven's Ward. I love Stormblood. I love Shadowbringers. They're really good at that 0.01 where we're getting all this story at once. It's when they start getting into the patches where I think it really starts to fall apart.
I think what happens is because there's this gap between the conclusion, their middle tends to sag.
That's every
I think-
trilogy. If you view it as a trilogy, every trilogy, the middle sags.
Most of the time, yeah.
Like 98% of the time. Yeah, like most
There's
of the
only
time.
one.
Avi's like,
There's
fuck
only-
Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, like there's the only one that is. The
Nope. Didn't
prime
like it.
exception.
Nope. Disagree.
But okay, you're welcome to your opinion. But hopefully that makes things at least a little bit better for you, Pete. Is that they recognize that they're taking it down kind of a boring road, so hopefully that they can have a rather satisfying end to them.
I'm glad that it's ending, but I just think it should have ended about 2 years ago.
It was hard to do that. I think they needed to
pick up the
for
pace a
what
little
they-
bit. Let's go.
I think they were trying to figure out what they were doing, especially since they were so absent in Stormblood.
That's very true. They were very absent in Stormblood.
Yeah, and
Because
that's
they were like,
But they tried to
"Fuck, what do we
smash
do with
so
these
much
guys?"
into Stormblood that if they tried to smash the Ascians in as well, that would have just been a
want to
bunch of
smash.
tie-dye happening.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would have been bad.
So that was what I thought was going to be a quick take on the Ascians.
Sorry about that.
No, I ran pretty long on that as well. I even had, I forgot to write my list, but I was going to do a thing on stuff I cared more about than the Ascians. Lords of Verminion was one of them.
Okay. Well-
I was like, and I'm done.
All right. Yeah.
Ocean
I guess we're
fishing.
done.
That's really big right now, though.
I guess it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I was like, that's not really a thing. All right, thank you
Mhm.
so much, Icarus. I'm sorry
Certainly,
I disappeared
yeah.
for a bit. I had to potty.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're good.
The podcast only listeners didn't know that.
I was like, it's not that I don't want to listen, but I just can't sit here right now. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Talk to you later. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you,
bye.
Chris.
Mhm.
All right. Ascians suck. I think that's what we came to the conclusion of. And not suck like they're bad guys.
Pete, you're
They're just
very
bad
into making extra long podcast episodes
characters.
lately.
What are you going to do?
Tell you that I don't like making these extra long podcast episodes.
All right. Let's get to Community Roundup, partner. Are you going to do that next week? You going to do the voice for Community Roundup?
Probably not.
You want me to record it so you can play a sound effect?
That'd be funny.
Community Roundup. We wanted to promote Mione again.
Well, this is kind of interesting. So we were going to promote Mione, well, one, because he's amazing. And I had heard a lot of comments that his shark mount video for the ocean fishing is a wonderful tutorial. But
How to get the shark mount.
yeah, and then I also heard that like Susan Sprinkles in chat was saying that even Mione is getting shit about that video. So
Oh,
there's
really?
so much drama going around about ocean fishing, and I just thought that was really interesting. So like while we say, you know, watch Mione's video for the how to get the shark mount and ocean fishing, because I've heard it's really, really good. And I'm not trying to downplay any of Mione's content, but there's people saying that like there's so much freaking contention now that I don't want to direct people to that particular video if that's not necessarily the right video.
Well, look,
So
he got the mount, so he
Yeah.
knows something.
yes, and he's wonderful. Like
maybe it's not 100%. You can match up what he says in that video with the guide that we talked about in the Greenleaf Minute. You can
Yeah.
see what matches up, what doesn't match up. You can form your own fucking opinion.
it's
Don't
ocean.
expect everything to be given to you on a silver platter.
Chad is asking what is toxic, what's the contention. I honestly don't know. We actually just found out about the toxicity right when the podcast started, so I haven't had time to do any research into it. But that a lot of even Chad is saying ocean fishing has unlocked some incredibly toxic BS. So there are definitely multiple methods to get to your shark mount. So who gives a flying,
Flying shark?
which is the best route as long as you get there. Have fun, shut up, and give me some Jason Momoa.
There's a Momoa fish.
That's why I was going with that. Every time I see it, everyone's grumpy about it, but all I picture is Jason Momoa without a shirt on, so I'm okay.
You don't picture a fish, Jason Momoa? You don't picture an Aquaman?
Aquaman is Jason Momoa without a shirt on for like 90% of the movie, so that works as well.
Did you even see that movie?
I did.
Yeah.
It was the only reason to watch it is Jason
Shocking.
Momoa without a shirt on. Like, I'm so okay with that.
But I also wanted to promote Mioni because like there's a lot of stuff we talk about in 5.2. We talk about like the minions you can get, and we show pictures for those of you who are joining us live here. But the vast majority of you just listen to the podcast. So it's someone we can point you to where you're able. He does videos on all the minions you can get. He does basically everything new in the patch, and they're not all like 10-minute long videos where you don't know where you're going to see the new minions. He does like a specific one that might only be 2 minutes for all the minions.
And
2
that's
minutes
what
for
I
the mounts.
appreciate, because I don't like having to watch a 20-minute video to find out about a single minion. But because of how the YouTube algorithm works, that means that if you go to YouTube and you just try to search for something like that, you might not actually find Mioni. And I do have to say, his voice is wonderful to listen to as well. So if you appreciate a really good British accent and some really cute cat girls, check out Meoni, Mioni's videos.
So if
they
there's
are wonderful.
Anything that we've talked about that you're like, ooh, I'd kind of want to see that. And like Avi last week or 2 weeks ago was talking about this outdoor furnishing item that she really liked. He has a video on that.
It's gotten to the point now, if I actually want to see what anything looks like in game, I look up Mioni's videos. I'm gonna say it straight there. Like that is where I will go, because I know I will get a quick and instructive video without having to sift through a bunch of BS beforehand. So I really love your videos. I appreciate them, Mioni. I wish YouTube worked more in your favor, because you do appreciate. I'm tired.
Damn, how much you had to drink?
It's not even that. This is a 2-hour episode, Pete. It's supposed to be an hour podcast. I appreciate all that you do, Mioni, and you deserve more views.
100% agree.
By the way, I like at 90 minutes, I cap out. If any podcast goes over 90 minutes, I'm done. And right now my hip is starting to spasm and I'm in pain and I don't like sitting at this chair, and Pete kept talking about goddamn Ascians.
Right, we got no more than 75 minutes left, Avi.
It's okay.
Okay, we just have a little bit of Twitter. Actually, we did have a lot of engagement on Twitter this week, but it was mostly like memes and stuff. It wasn't really about the show.
It was me posting memes.
But a little reaction to one of my favorite ones was Avi posting a meme of the E8 transition, and Keith, what he called about earlier, was like, you need to check out the E8S phase transition, which he told us about. Go look that up if you're interested. Scott Matrix said, LOL, in my static we called it the don't look, the police are watching, and okay, you can look, I won't tell during the redress mechanics. Always gets a laugh. And Terabyte says, definitely the fun is fight, but definitely awkward.
You mean the fight is fun, not the fun is fight? You said the fun is fight. Fight is fun. Two different things.
The fun is fight.
Yeah, that's how you view life with me.
I'm gonna fight that fun so
like,
fucking hard.
Let's take this fun and make Avi fight with me about it. It's gonna be so amazing. And then finally, my favorite reply was from Sly the Fox, who had Chris Hansen from To Catch a Predator, who says, "Why don't you have a seat over here?"
I'm gonna need you to take a seat.
I actually was like in public and I snorted and had somebody give me like a side-eye look when I saw that. I like and I responded going, "Oh my god, you just made me look like that crazy person laughing at public at nothing." So thank you for that, Sly. It was kind of amazing. And then anything else you wanted to add, Pete?
Do you want to talk about how you baited people into Astro conversation?
I was trying to skip over that,
Oh.
actually. But now that you said that, so I wasn't abating it. I actually saw a post on Reddit that was saying that Astro cards, thanks for making the podcast even longer when I was trying to end it, about how the cards aren't necessary unless you're in Savage, and they had like numbers and stuff. And so I honestly just kind of wanted to hear from some other Astros. So I shared that, and my response was not my post on it was not agreeing with this. I wanted people's opinions, thoughts, and feelings, and a lot of people came in and they gave their opinions, and I really appreciated it. I actually liked all the discourse and the conversation. So thank you guys.
Yeah, we got a lot of good information from that, and I think ultimately it came down on the side of maybe they're not the most useful, maybe they're not the most interesting, but they're definitely useful outside of Savage. Like they're not useful.
Well, I mean, nobody's actually done the number to see is it more worth my putting more effort and doing more DPS than it is for me to put effort into giving the 6% increase
I thought
for the party.
we saw in the comments that like they're off global cooldown, so you don't have to use the cast for them.
They are, but I mean, I don't play Astro, but I know that like some classes have abilities. Like I can DPS as a scholar with certain abilities with off global cooldowns. I've got some things I can throw out there. So
you complain about small pools because you say DPS is too boring as scholar.
that's because I'll run out of them. I have a limited number of energy drains I can use.
But yeah, lots of good information on that. And who gives a shit? Like someone was, my point was like someone was complaining about them not being useful outside of.
I like that the chat
Savage.
is actually joking about making the world's longest podcast right now.
7 days.
No, it's like, oh, we're just keep going. Let's keep going. Oh, we're gonna keep going. Okay.
All right. We'll save the hot Astro talk for another time.
Thank you. It's like your wife is sitting here in fucking pain, and he just keeps talking. Keeps talking.
Well, my girlfriend is busy tonight. What do you want?
I don't even. So, on that note, that is KK says she gonna cut a vegan. That is gonna be it for this episode. As always, we've enjoyed hanging out with most of you live here on Twitch.
Damn.
I'm just kidding. Thank you for spending your time with us. Be sure to hit that follow button so you know the next time we will be going live. It's getting really hard for me to talk right now. And a great big thank you to everyone listening to the podcast through iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or what new app comes out tomorrow. I'm sure we're going to love you guys too. And remember, wherever you do listen, it would mean a shit ton to us if you gave our little shit podcast a rating or a review, or more importantly, tell a friend to check us out. Here with Vegan Pete, I am Avi Ale, and we will talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.